Welcome to part 3 of me explaining why I don't think the writing in Sunrise on the Reaping is up to par with the other Hunger Games books. Part 2 was all about plot structure. Today I want to talk about character development. In the last video I talked about how we barely spend any time in District 12 at the beginning of this book. We get 36 pages at the start. And unfortunately I think that lends to really poor development of Ma and Sid. Especially because we don't spend the entirety of these 36 pages with them. The murders of Ma and Sid play a crucial role in Haymitch's character development, in who he becomes by the original trilogy, as does Lenore Dove's murder. But where she is very well developed, his mother and his brother are not. I kind of inserted Prim for Sid and Gale's mom Hazel for Ma. I feel like I don't know anything about them beyond the fact that they really love Haymitch, would do anything for him, that Plutarch traumatizes them immediately after the Reaping, and that they are murdered in a house fire. Haymitch doesn't spend all that much time in the bulk of the novel reflecting on who they are as people. He thinks about how the capital might hurt them and that he needs to cater his behavior to protect them and keep them safe, but he doesn't really tell us who they are in the way that he tells us who Lenore Dove is. And I would like to compare Sunrise to Ballad, which is the other standalone in this series, because I consider this book to be a masterclass of a character study, not only for the main character Coriolanus, but also for many of the side characters, including his sister figure Tigress and his mother figure, the Grandmam. I know who Tigress and the Grandmam are. I know what makes them tick. I know what their personalities are like. I know what they are passionate about, and I know how their relationships with Corio affect him as the main character and his development. I think that is largely in part due to the fact that we spend this much time in the capital, 320 pages, where there are multiple chances for Corio to interact with Tigress and the Grandmam. And even when he goes to 12 and is a peacekeeper, he still reflects on their relationships and he still is in contact with them. Now I know Haymitch could not be in contact with his mother and brother when he was in the capital, but I still wish that there were more instances of him reflecting on his relationships with them throughout the novel, kind of in the same way that Katniss does for Prim in the first Hunger Games book, in the cave with Peeta, and she's telling him all of these stories about Prim and how she got her goat and why she loves her sister. All of that kind of stuff could have been very beneficial in this book. Especially with Haymitch adopting Maysilee as his sister, where was that connection between Maysilee and Sid? Don't get me wrong, so many of the characters in this book are really well developed, but for two characters that are so vital to Haymitch's character development, it was really disappointing to not see them fully fleshed out.